All right, welcome back. So this is lesson 7. This is where we're going to actually get a chance to go back and tweak our model and try and make it as good as we possibly can. All right, so this lesson also includes submitting for a competition, but the competition part doesn't seem to be working right now. I'm throwing lots of weird errors. So we're going to skip that part, and I'll show you where that skip is. First thing you want to do is you want to run this first code bubble. That'll establish your connection, it'll create a session, and it will set up a bunch of stuff that we'll need for later. Next thing we're going to do is run this next code bubble. So this is all code we've seen before, we've been using it through. So this imports our libraries up here, and then this shows us where our training data is. It reads the CSV into a data frame called home data. We pull out the sale price column from home data and store it in Y, which is the thing we're trying to predict. That's where we store that thing. Then we made a list of features, and here's where we're gonna do a bunch of work today. You're gonna be choosing different features from the list to be able to see what effect the features have on the predictability of the model. And then we say, okay, let's create a new data frame called X. Let's go to our home data, which has all the data in it. Let's pull out all the features columns. So all of these columns get pulled out and they get put in a data frame called X. And then we're going to print X head. And this isn't printing right now, so I think what we're going to do is put print and then put parentheses around it and then rerun this bubble. I think that should print the head actually this time. Yep. So this is print the head of just our features column. So we don't actually want that printed, so I'm not really sure why. We actually want to print, let's move this actually. Well, let's just leave it there the way it was. So I'm going to remove the print I put in, and I actually want to come up here to home data, and I want to print home data dot columns, and I never remember if home data dot column needs parentheses or not. Let's just run it and see if we throw an error. Okay, nope, it didn't. So these are all the possible columns that you can use when you're choosing these. So you read through these, you'll try and find ones you think, you know what, that looks like that might be something that would be predictive. And I'll show you a way to narrow them down to other stuff in just a second as well. So maybe I'm going to, for now, I'm just going to Control / and that'll comment out that line, so when we run it again, we don't have to see that every time. We can always bring it back by deleting that hashtag. All right, so we've got our sale price stored in our predictions. We have our features stored in the data frame X. Now we're going to split. So we got to split out that validation from the test data, and we're using random state 1 just to keep it consistent every time we run the bubble. Then we're going to actually bring in a blank random forest regressor model. So we bring it in and we're storing it in something called RF model. So that's the name of our model now, RF model for random forests. And now we're going to fit it using our training X and train Y data. This is where the model is going to go from being blank to having all of the options put in and all the leaves and all that stuff. And remember, random forest regressor is going to make a whole bunch of different trees and average their predictions together. We tend to get better results that way. And then we're going to actually, we've trained it now. Now we have all of the questions and leaves and branches all filled in, ready to go. Now we need to see how well it's doing on predictions. So we're going to do rfmodel.predict, and we're going to run through the val X data. So this is houses that the model has never seen before. So we're running them through the model and getting their predictions. We're going to store those predictions in order in a list called RF val predictions. So now we have what our model thinks the prices are. Now we need to see how good those are. So we're going to run the mean absolute error function, and we're going to compare the predictions from our models to the actual values of those houses, and that's stored in the val Y. And they'll go through subtracting each one from the other one, taking the absolute value, and then taking the average of all of those. It'll kick back, so we're going to print that number right here. We're going to print it on the screen, and it ends up being $21,857. So on average, that's how far we're off. Now the rest of this is training for competition. This is not working right now, so we're not going to do anything below this. We're going to be right here trying to get this number to be the best number possible. Here's how we're going to do it. So scroll way down here where it says continue your progress. And it's showing you that the features list they start you with are these. These are good. Well, I don't know if they are good or not. These are features that they started you with. The rest of the features are here. There's a bunch more than this in that list of columns when we have it at the top. But the ones that aren't on this list are ones that will throw lots of errors. So they have things like missing cells in there. So say it's a number and it's like saying the size of a, I don't know, garage or something weird. And some of the cells have NA written in, meaning not applicable. The model won't know what to do when it sees like 3-car garage, 2-car, 1, 0, 1, 2, 1, 3. When it hits it NA, it'll throw an error saying, I don't know what to do with 2 letters when I'm looking for a number. So they've gone through and figured out that all of these columns are all columns that of data that will work in the model. All right, so let's say I think that going through this model, I'm like, you know what? First floor, second floor square footage, that would be important. Low quality finished square footage. Whoa, what did I just do? I'm going to grab this one and say, you know what? I think this might be really predictive. So I'm going to grab the quotation marks as well. I'm going to do Control C, and then I'm going to jump up here, back up to my here. In my features list, I'm going to put a comma. Well, let me actually write down the number I have right now. So 21,857. 21,857. So now I've added something to my features. Oh, I did not add it yet. Control V, low quality square, finished square foot. Now I'm going to rerun this bubble with that extra feature in there and see what my error came out to be. And now I've got 21,889. So that adding this extra data for prediction actually made my model worse. So I'm like, I don't think that's a very good one. But what I'm curious about now is, does it matter where I put this? So I'm going to Control X, take it out of here. I'm going to put it over here. Oops. I'm going to put it as second here. So notice I have to separate each of the things with a comma and put the name of the column in a single or double quotes work as well. Single quotes are easier because they don't require a shift. And I'm going to rerun it to see if my number changes at all. So I had 21,889 that time. And this time I have 21,870, which is still worse than my first one. But notice that not only does including it in the list matter, but which of these is first, second, and third also matters. So you've got a lot to play with now. So go down and grab some of these columns. Figure out which ones you think would be really predictive and just start testing them and see how low you can drive our MAE here. Once you get that done, once you get to the point where you're like, I can't get it better, I've tried everything I can think of, go ahead and you're going to take this code and you're going to copy and paste this code all inside this bubble. So actually, let's do you'll be pasting in your features code. So which features you use, you'll be including those in your, well, you'll see in the assignment what you're supposed to be including. All right, have a great one. I hope you enjoyed this machine learning introduction, and enjoy your summer.